to all the party people in the place to be. We hope you are doing well on this fine day, night, morning, evening, late night, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. We hope that you are happy. We are back with Parcel Simulator. So, yesterday's video, we tried to go for the record. Spoiler if you've not seen it, we didn't get it. We got close, but I mean, we're still. It seems like we're pretty much capped out at the high 600s, low 700s, just because we can't get stuff off of the trucks faster. But I wanted to change things up with today's video, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. Normally we focus on builds and processing, and what I wanted to do today was just kind of go through, like, what are the things that I would change, or what are the changes I would like to see in the game. So I got a list that I made, and some of them we've talked about in the comments on some of the videos, and some of them we haven't, but I figured I'd put it all in the video and drop that and just share kind of my thoughts. The first thing that I would love to see changed is a new conveyor belt that allowed me to double decker. And so what I mean by that is, if you think about like bunk beds, I would love it if, let's pretend this is this conveyor. Could I have another conveyor type where I could run another line above it up here, right? So the way that it would work is the bridge. Let me grab this box. I had to demo with boxes because the conveyor belts, I can't lift them off the floor like this to demo with that. But let's say we have a bridge, and like, can I build a conveyor that's double the height, so that once I get up to the level that the bridge is at, can I put more conveyors at this level for longer periods of time, right? So in the case of like this exit run, what I would love to do is put a bridge here that gets it up to this level, and then run it at this level all the way down. Can't jump and carry a box. But run it at this level all the way down, and then come down right here, turn the corner, and go in the bay. And so it'd be cool if there was another conveyor belt that allowed you to stack it on top of another belt that was at the height of the bridge, and then give me a up ramp conveyor. And then if I flip it around, it'll then become a down one. And so just like I can pick up this guy, and I can flip, like he's going in that direction, and I can flip it and it goes in that direction. Can I have an up one like this, but then when I flip it, it just the arrow goes down like that. And then I could make my own bridges, and I could make those bridges last for as long as I want them to last. I think that would be a really cool feature to add into the game. I think it would add a whole lot of stuff to the build potential and things that you could do. So like if I come over here, instead of having all of these racks side by side like this, I could potentially come in here, do an up ramp, and go over this, and then go all the way down here. And then what I could do is the one on the bottom can turn left, and then right here I could do a down one and come down to ground level and go into that scanning. And then that way, instead of taking up 2 rows here, it's only 1 row. It's one right above the other. So I think it would give you a ton of build potential. Even if I look at the thing that really made me think about it was this setup right here, where we've got the green one comes out and runs down, but then we also have these guys still scanning. Is like, could I just run this above these guys, right, and then come down and merge in right there? And that would save space. It would give me more room to do other things, etc., etc. But that's the first thing I would do differently. The next thing that I would do differently is I would add more diverters, but more importantly, I would add more combiners. So if I come into the shop, we have this smart splitter, and what this smart splitter does is it takes a single row of conveyors, and it splits it into 3 rows. So if the traffic is coming in from this direction, this way, and this way, whichever one has the least amount of traffic, it sends that box that thing. What I would love to see is, can we do the reverse? Can I have 3 rows come into the splitter and then just have one output go out? And so the idea behind that is, if I've got these 3 positive rows coming out of these scanners, could I then loop them in and combine them and then have one sorting feature? That's a little bit of extreme. Probably a better one would be, could I put this thing here, the sorter, could I put a sorter at the end of each one of these lines and immediately reject plane and train, for example? And then so I've got 3 plane and train lines coming in here, and then combine them into one to get sorted between those guys and then go out to the trucks. So that'd be the more practical reason why I'd want to do that, is because then I could separate packages earlier in the process. I would then have like multiple lines of that coming out, but then I could use that one tool to combine those together. So I think that would, again, help improve the build and the floor space and all of that. The next thing that I want to change, to shift gears, let's talk about painting for a minute. So early on in my original video, or not my original, but one of the earlier videos, when we first got access to paint, I was complaining that the color of the racks, so this orange, for example, or we can do this yellow, right? So the yellow rack looks like this, right? It's this nice, it looks like San Diego Chargers. So it's got this nice blue, it's got this nice yellow. But if I go in and look at the paint, the paint is not the same yellow. It's kind of this gold color that's right here on these racks. So somebody like me, I really like to make the rack match the conveyor, and so that way that particular package type, everything is painted and colored the same. So it'd be nice if the paint colors actually all matched. And like, here's the wall color that's kind of like this dark mustard. It matches the conveyors a little bit closer, but it's still not quite the same. And then, yeah, the racks are just not even the same color. Luckily, the green matches. And the blues are even off a little bit, right? Like the default color blue on the conveyors is a little bit darker than the color on these racks. But anyway, that's first world problem, but it would be nice if the actual colors actually matched. The other thing about paint is it's $125 for 1 bucket of paint, and I can paint 10 things, right? So with that bucket of paint, and I don't have any paint, but so if I bought a bucket of paint, I can paint 10 conveyors for the $125, right? And then I got to go buy more paint. So the thing that I would change is, don't charge me paint by the bucket. Charge me paint by the number of things I paint, right? So instead of me having to buy 30 buckets of red paint in order to paint all of my conveyor belts red for my deny routine, just let me get 1 bucket of paint, and every time I paint something, charge me $13 or $15. And then that way I just got 1 bucket of paint. I can run through, paint everything that I want to paint, and you just charge me every time I click the button to paint something. And then that way I don't have to order 30 buckets. I just have 1 bucket that's endless, and every time I paint something, you just charge me for hitting the button to paint that. That would be the other thing that I change about paint. The next thing that I want to talk about is, I want to talk about the TV. So we've got this TV right here, and it shows our statistics. So it shows what we've processed, how many errors, what day it is, what's processing on that day, our warehouse level tier. This is great. I love the statistics screen. What I would really love to do is, can you add security cameras in the store. So when we go in here, there's no security cameras in here. But could we add a security camera that we could buy? Charge me, you know, $1,000 a camera, $5,000 a camera, $2,500 a camera. I don't care. Because you can see once you get into end game, money's not really an issue. We're sitting on 2.2 million right now, and all we do is build videos. Like, we're not even like playing the game hardcore like we could. But it'd be nice if I could buy security cameras. And you know, if you want to limit it to 6 cameras or 9 cameras or whatever, that's fine. But I would love to have a security camera that I could then stick on the wall and point it at either like a junction like this. So like 2 videos, I think we had a package that got stuck here, right? So the cargo type scanner glitched and it let a package type come through that's not valid, and it got stuck on this guy. So it'd be cool if like if I had a security camera sitting there looking at this junction, and I could see this merge, I could see that merge, I could see this bridge, I could see this sorter. If something got stuck, so then what I could do is, after I have all the cameras set up, I could come over here on the TV and I could switch it to camera view, and then I'd have a view of the warehouse. You know, I'd have a square for every camera that I had up in the warehouse. And then I could just stand here and I could watch on TV all the different security cameras to see everything processing through the warehouse. And that way, if I see something that's a problem, I can immediately, you know, run over and take care of it, right? Or I could put like a camera on these bays, because we had one video, I can't remember if it was a video or if it was off camera, but there was 2 boxes that collided on the conveyor belt before this pauser. And so nothing was coming off the truck. And I had to grab one of the packages and move it, and then everything started working again. So, you know, if I had a camera that I could set up and then I could sit here and watch it, I wouldn't have to, you know, run around the warehouse to all the different spots where there's been issues and make sure everything's cool. Or I wouldn't have to do where I kind of get up on a perch and then I'm just spinning around trying to see everything. I could just sit at my desk and watch the security cameras on TV. So I think that would be really cool. The other thing that I would love to do with the TV is, can I get a top-down view of the warehouse, right? So if we pretend there's no roof and there's a drone up in the sky, can it show me a top-down view of my warehouse and my warehouse loadout? And so this one came from, I had several people in comments on different videos that asked for like a grid view or a layout view of my warehouse. And I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do that in terms of software, and how I could manage it. But it'd be really easy if I could come over here on the TV, go to another screen, and on that screen, the full size of the TV shows me the top-down view of the warehouse and where all my things are placed, etc. So the other thing that I would like to change is the speed of the conveyors on the trucks. So one of the things that we talked about in the last video is there's like 3 conveyors on the truck that the packages come out. Well, those conveyors that are on that truck, I can't control their speed. So they're at level 1, and then they don't hit level 3 until they get on this conveyor, which is the first one that I place down as the player. And so I can make all my conveyors level 3. The ones on the truck, I can't make level 3. So it'd be cool if I could make those level 3, because then we could get over this ceiling of like high 600 packages per day. The next thing that I would like to change, and they actually changed it in the last patch, and that was on the envelope packages. Let me see, I got one right. Can I grab that from here? Yeah, come on. This guy. So if you notice, on the top of this package, next to the red letter E for the weight, there is the stamp for the envelope. And so it used to be that stamp was on the bottom of the package. And so you'd have to hold it up in the air like this to read that stamp. And I had it on my list to, put it on the top. And in the last patch that came out last week, they did make that change and put that stamp on the top. So that's super helpful. So that's one of my lists that got done. The next thing that I'd really like to change, it was an idea that I had, and then at David SQ9NG also made the same thing in the comment, and that was when we had that package get stuck, I had to see it. Like, I don't know how long it was sitting there stuck. We had some backup on these belts, and one of the things that he mentioned was this thing should have some kind of an alarm, right? And to me, this bar should extend up, and at the top of that bar should be a red light. And so if something gets stuck where this guy can't do its job, it should trigger that light to start flashing, and it should play some warning alarm, some kind of rant, 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 or whatever. So that way, as soon as it happens, I can react to it. I would love to have a warning light, error light, not only on the sorter, I would do it on bridges as well, because there's been several times where packages have gotten stuck at the bottom of a bridge, and we didn't know about it, and so we had to come grab that package, move it, and then everything started working again. So I feel like if for any of the conveyors that have a physical job other than rotating, so the sorters, the bridges technically rotate, but they got to go up and over. The stamping machines, even though we've never had a problem out of those guys, it would be cool if all of those ones could have like a little pole with a red light on the top, and an alarm would go off if something's preventing that thing from doing its job. The other thing that would be cool is like backups, right? So like if this belt gets backed up and then something gets diverted and it can't come out, like, can this thing set off an alarm? Like, hey, I've got a package in here and I can't get it out, just to kind of help out with errors and backups and things like that. So that's that. And then the other thing that I would love to change, and this is the last one on my list, is I would love to have the ability to do more once everything's fully automated like this. And so I don't particularly know what that answer is, but like if I open these doors, the only thing that I really need to do, because everything is fully automated, the only thing I need to do is just stand here and watch and just look for things that get stuck or something like that. There's really not a whole lot for me to do with like my desk over here. And so I think it would be kind of cool if there was a certain package type that needed my attention, where I can't scan it, I can't automate it, and so I have to grab it, bring it over to my desk, and do something with it, and then go throw it down a chute. So it would be cool if there was like another way to get me manually involved in this in-game situation, where I have a little bit something to do. And like I said, I don't really know what that answer is. I don't know. Maybe it's I can go on a truck, and like if I'm standing inside the truck, it doubles the speed of the packages coming off that truck. It could be something like that, or it could be, things periodically get stuck. Especially if we have the alarm thing that we just talked about. Like maybe just randomly this thing just breaks, and I got to come over here and hit it with a hammer, and kind of fix it. And then, something like that. I mean, that would get super annoying if like within a day, like, 15 things break that I got to go run and hit with a hammer. So I wouldn't want it to happen a whole lot, but it would be cool if every now and again, something broke, and I needed to come hit it with a hammer or something like that. But just some other element of, me having to do something manually, something that can't be automated, that adds just another little wrinkle in the game, that I have to deal with and manage. Just because at the end game where we are right now, with everything being automated, there's not a whole lot to do other than you're just watching for, packages to get stuck, or, things to kind of, having a backup that you need to go deal with. So like we had one the other day. That's why this pallet is down here. where that line got backed up and I had to grab the pallet and grab boxes off of the line in order to kind of clear that backlog. So yeah, things like that where I got to go get involved. It'd be cool if there was another wrinkle we could add into the game, or maybe like do a tier 15 where like, we've got this place over here that like we don't do contracts and there's no need for us to, like, we don't come in here at all, right? We don't do contracts. Contracts are kind of pointless. So like if I come in here, it's like you want 3 packages and you're going to give me $425 for them, right? But like I have tons of money, so like why would I even bother? Like in the early game, I can see where contracts will make you a lot of money. But once you get to late game, like the contracts are pointless. So what would be cool is for that manual wrinkle is make, and in this break room, I mean, there's never a need to go in here. I mean, I guess we can shoot basketball. Kobe. Nope. But yeah, there's no reason to really come in here, right? So what would be cool is if you make this wall like a tier 15 wall where we can unlock this and then there's a store. And in the store, people can come in off the street, kind of like a UPS store or FedEx store, and they can just bring you packages to ship. And so now they're bringing in this package, right? I can do a little transaction and like weigh it and take their money and throw stamps on it or whatever. And then once I have that package, I can throw it on a pallet, and then I gotta come in here and like take them off that pallet and throw them down chutes, right? So maybe I have the store, and behind me in the store, I have a pallet for airplane, a pallet for boat, a pallet for train, a pallet for truck, depending on what type of, shipping they wanted to pay for. And then I could load up packages for people coming in. I could load them up on the pallets. I can grab the pallets, and then I can bring them, if I had like a bunch of trains, I could throw the pallet down here, and then I can manually throw the airplanes on this conveyor. It just gives me a little bit more to do. And then like, kind of like in the laundry store simulator series that we started with, maybe the customers have a timer above their head. So like if I got to come out here and, clear a blocked line or deal with something out here on the floor, I've got, 45 seconds, 60 seconds to like fix whatever I need to fix in here. And then I can run back to the store and then transact with that customer and get their package or whatever. So that would be kind of cool if like they unlocked a tier 14 where you had a store that now I have to manage that store, right? And then you could add in like upgrades for the store to where like now I'm getting quite a few people, so let me hire an employee, and maybe I hire an employee that does the transactions with the customers, and they will drop the package on the correct pallet, but now I still got to carry the pallets back here and throw them down either throw them down the chute or put them on the conveyor to get processed. So but that's I think that was 10 things that I wanted to see changed in the game. But overall, really fun game. I'm really enjoying it, having a lot of fun with it. So anyway, if you guys got things that you want to see changed that I did not cover with my list, drop them in the comments below, and I'll try to collect all your guys' ideas, and I'll make another video that are the community ideas of what we should change. But if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Really appreciate all the love and support that you guys are showing me. It makes it really exciting to get out here and try to produce content for you guys. But with that, we will see everybody in the next one. Peace out.